Hi, welcome to my stamp studio. My name is Cheri. Today I'm going to be showing you another project from the upcoming January to June 2020 mini catalog from Stampin' Up. If you have watched any of my recent videos, you know that I've not been feeling well. I am feeling a little bit better today. I slept, I would say, for a very long time, but that's not really true because we're renovating our bathroom and my husband needed to get something done last night that needed to dry for 24 hours. So he was actually up until, I don't know, 2. So even though I slept till like 8, I guess I really didn't sleep in. I just slept different. But I am feeling a little bit better, but more than likely I will cough during this because extended talking makes me cough. So if I do, I apologize, but I don't know when I'll get better and I can't not film until that happened. So I have been editing a couple of these videos and taking out coughing parts. So if it seems like all of a sudden we jump from like something to something else, it's just because I've taken out some coughing. So there you go. My background secrets. So I'm going to be showing you a project from both this catalog. I'm using 2 stamp sets and from our celebration catalog. And these will be available for me to start sending sometime in December. I don't have them yet. So if you're interested in getting one, if you've ordered from me anytime in like the last 9 months, you'll get one. If you have ordered from me in the past, but it's not been recently, then place an order and you'll get one. These are 2 of the projects that I have already. Get that out of my system. There's only the cats at home, so I haven't done a lot of talking yet today. These are 2 of the projects that I've already filmed, and these tutorials are up. This uses the lovely Parisian Blooms suite, I think it's called. So it's got some of the new papers and new folders, some new dies, a new stamp set, some new ribbons, some new embellishments. And that tutorial is already up. I can't show you the inside of the catalog, but the more things I get filmed, the more things there are to show you. And this uses the Tropical Oasis suite. And it's fun because it's different. It's not like anything we've had recently. Obviously, we've never had a giant pineapple die, and that was really what I liked most about it. But now that I have it, the hibiscus, I can't wait to color with. The Memories and More packet of cards that it comes with, super, super fun. So it has a lot of cool things in it. And then if you've never had a catalog before, just message me and I will be happy to send you one. So today I'm using one of our reversible stamp sets, which I'm getting ready to film. I'm going to go back to the holiday catalog. I'm going to touch it a little bit on this card, actually. This is one of our reversibles, which is what our coffee mug is in the holiday catalog. And I'll show you how those work when I use this. And then I'm going to use a celebration stamp set. And if you're not familiar with celebration, starting in January to March, for every $50 you spend, this little this little catalog here is the best kind of catalog because everything in it is free. So for every $50 you can pick something, and there's a few things that for every $100 you pick. But this is a $50 selection. And you can see this stamp set doesn't have any sentiments, so I pulled a sentiment from this one. So let's get going. You can see I have my Stamparatus here because we're using my very favorite stamp in the annual catalog. We're going to use the Buffalo Check because the stamp set that we're using, well, it doesn't have to be masculine. Obviously, it lends itself very well to being a masculine card set. So we're going to use the Buffalo Check because whenever you can use it, do, because it's fabulous. So we're going to, I have made a couple of cards recently, and you can go back on my YouTube and see the tutorials for those. So this is already set up. So this is just the grid paper that you can buy for the Stamparatus, and you just take it. I only ever have 1 magnet on my Stamparatus because if you get 2 magnets together, they snap, and 1 is plenty strong. So you just take this. It's got a little bit of sticky on it from camp. I use my grid paper until it can't be used anymore. So just shove it all the way into the corner, and then just put your magnet there to hold the grid paper. And then just put a tiny bit of adhesive there. And then you can see where the stamp's gonna hit because this has always been flush to the corner. So just line this up. This is a full quarter sheet of cardstock. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We're just gonna give a false front to our card. And the stamp's a little bit bigger than a full sheet of cardstock. So we're gonna stamp it black because who doesn't love some black and red Buffalo Check. If you don't have a stamparatus, you can do this without it. Just stamp in it the way you do a regular background stamp. You're just going to get one go with it because you can't double stamp it. So you want to make sure if you don't have a stamparatus, especially that you ink this really well. I don't have to be as careful because I can get as many shots as I want with it. So just pull that over and press. This is why I don't get wood blocks, even though wood is still an option for us on our background stamps. If you get them on wood, you can't use them with your stamparatus. And then just take something to hold the paper down because we put that little bit of glue adhesive and we don't want that to lift that up. So you can see it's kind of mottled, but that's okay because I've got my stamparatus. And so if you are stamping without a stamparatus, just make sure that you've inked it really well, which I would have done a little bit better if I'd known that I was just one stamp, but this will fill in all of those little holes. Because with the stamparatus, you can go 50 times if you want to, because it's just going to stamp right back on the same spot again. Plus, I know to press, it might not be an inking issue, it just might be that I didn't press there. And I know from my card design that what's going to show on my card is the outside edges. So that's where I really want to be pressed. And just grab your bone folder or your scissors and just hold your paper down. So now you can see my outside edges right here is still not getting good. And I could probably live with it, but just to show you what I mean. Let's just get right there. And I may have to stand up, so I'm sitting down and I'm a stand-up stamper because you just get better pressure when you stand up. So let me roll my chair back. And we'll press right there with a little bit more pressure. There we go, and that's filled that in. So it's nice and bright. This right here is gonna get all covered up with other stuff. So we're done with that. And then if you're using this at a camp or class, or if you're making a bunch of projects yourself, don't clean it off, just close it. I have 3 stamparatuses, so I just have a dedicated one for my buffalo check. So it just lives in here. It just is always in its own little stamparatus. Because I do use it a lot. If you go to my my YouTube page, you will see I use it a ton. So now let's do this other stamping. First, we'll go back to the black since it's laying here. And this is where I pulled the happy birthday out from the celebration set. And I haven't taken the time to put my stickers on. These will be projects that we do for my demonstrator team will come over. Every time we have a new catalog come out, I have them all over. And they make all the projects. They bring the snacks and we stamp. We used to do like 16 projects. That put them over the edge. So now we do like 8 to 12, depending on how difficult they are. So there's our sentiment. And then I'm going to use this new punch. I'll just go ahead and punch it so I can move this out of the way. This is a new punch that's in the mini catalog. And you can see that it has the label. So let me line this up in here. So just punch this out. And you do it upside down, and of course you can see that where it's lining up. And then you can see it cut this slit. It also has a little dot, which on my original sample I used the slit. This time I'm going to use the dot. So you just push this back into the end. You want to make sure that you don't push it so far in that it's going to get punch that. And now I have a hole for my ribbon. So it's all built in here for you. You don't have to go get another punch, but you can add your ribbon. And for this, because it's kind of a masculine card, I'm going to add some twine. So that's ready. Now for this, we are going to need a stamp cleaner. So, you know, the easiest one to use is the chamois. So I've got my chamois here. And then I've got soft suede and garden green. And this is how I made the color selection for this. They were laying on my table. So my table had gotten kind of clustered with a lot of stuff. So here are the trees. It's kind of a little forest tree line of pines and a little bit kind of like a water So ink this up. And for this one, you want it nice and dark because this is the actual stamp. And I'm going to put it down here at the bottom. Just like that. And then press. It's got lots of detail. It's a distinctive type of stamp. See how pretty that is? And then clean that off. So just clean it off on your chamois. You probably want some wet wipes or something here for your hands too, because this is a card, especially because I'm working with vanilla cardstock, that could get your hands dirty. And then I have found it's easier if I just lay it back in my chamois to press it back on. And then you need a piece of scrap paper. And ink it in the same color, or you can do different colors. There'll be lots of ways that we can use this stamp set. This is just the first one that I'm showing you. And you can see now it's nice and dark, but it's the same color. And I don't want to cover all that up with the exact same color. So stamp it kind of lightly here. And I'm not going to stamp the whole thing, just kind of lightly press. So some of it will be darker. And then you just lay it on here and kind of offset. So almost on top, almost offset. And because I'm going to use the dies, I want it a little bit closer than a little bit off. If you're just stamping, then go for all the way off. And then it gives you some shading. See how pretty that is? Clean that one off. And this is a not quite a quarter sheet of cardstock. It's 4. Cut 4 inches. Let's get the soft suede. We'll do the same thing with mountains. So first we'll go full strength. It really doesn't matter which one you do first, I don't think. So if you've already got one side inked, just remember to do the shadow side, stamp off first. So this is full strength. So here they are. And clean those off, because the reason you want to clean it off is because you're going to touch them. And then pop those back over. And then just lay it in here to press it on. That way, if it's not all the way clean and your box dirty, you're not getting your hands dirty. Ink it up. And when I'm doing it, I'm not doing, you know, this is called stamping off. And I'm not doing like a full press as hard as I can stamp off. It's just a light one. And for this one, I'm going to, you know, the stamps don't match, these don't match up all the way because it's a reverse image. So you can see there's no way you can get it perfect. But for this one, I'm going to try to get it a little bit more on the mountains. Just because of the dies. So it's 2-step stamping and all colored in for you. So that's all that we need. Let's pull our die cutting machine over here. And I think I can, I'm not going to do it all at once. I started to say I can fit it all on here. I can fit it all on, but I don't really need to. So we're going to do, these have the mountains cut out whole. Move my coffee out of the way. I want you to be able to see the way the dies work. So I'm going to try to center this for you. So lay these on so they get the actual mountains, and then the shading that hit wherever it hit is just fine. And then these are the trees. And again, I'm going to line them up so they get the actual trees, and let the shading, if it just cuts off somewhere, that's where it cuts off. But it still filled in all of the gaps. And there's a ton of static in my house. So just be, if your house has a ton of static, because it's that time of year and we all have our heaters on. Just be careful when you lay it down. It just takes one pass. And here we have the mountains. Super easy. And here we have the trees. And then it comes with 2 trees. It comes with a bunch of dies, and I will put the pictures of those on my website, but these are my favorite part. And these I did run through a couple of times. Just because, you know, I'd rather run them through than spend all my time poking. So much faster to run this way than it is to poke, especially when you have 2 of them. So run them through twice, and then if they stay in their die, flip them upside down. If they pop out, then just let them be. The easiest way to run them through without them popping out is to grab both your plates, flip the plates over, and then run them back through that way. And now you can tell for sure that they have all come out. Look how pretty they are. I mean, you could use the wood grain embossing folders. You could use some of the wood grain stamps. You could use some of the wood paper that's in the current holiday catalog. There's so much potential with this stamp set, and it mixes well with others, which you're going to see in a second. So let's stick this all together. So I just did a red, and we're going to give it the false front. I've had people ask me about my bone folder charm. One of my girlfriends sells these. So you can buy just the charm, or you can buy, they make great Christmas presents or great downline presents. She sells the whole bone folder just like this, and you pick your charm. And it comes all with the ribbons and pretty embellishments. It's all Stampin' Up stuff. Or you can buy just the charm, and they also fit on your scissors. But it's great when we're all together because we know whose bone folder is whose, or whose scissors are whose. But if you're interested, just message me wherever you're watching this, and I'll give you her information. So now you can see this is just going to cover it up. It's easier to put this piece in the Stamparatus than it is to put a half a card, because it's when it's this, they kind of jump around, and it just makes your card feel a little bit more substantial. And if you mess this up when it goes in the Stamparatus, you can flip it around. It's harder to flip around a whole card. Just makes your card feel nice. So stick that on there. Let's take these out. And if you take your pick, then these are easier to roll out when they're in the die because they're really delicate. And there you go. It rolls out much easier. I have one piece left. And the rest of it all came out. But when you try to roll it out not in the die, then sometimes they tear when you have these super, super little delicate and intricate dies. But this gives it the stability that it needs to hold together. Just pop that out. There you go. And aren't those just gorgeous? Super pretty. Now I'm going to take my scissors, which I know some of you just die when I do this. I have my paper trimmer here, but it just needs to be trimmed a little bit. And you can leave it bigger, you can leave it smaller. You could flip the green piece around if you don't want the white, but I don't mind it. A lot of it's going to get covered up, so start with mounting your mountains first. So we want those to go. I'm going to put these a little bit higher than I did on my original card. And you'll see why in a minute. Whoops. And with all this stuff, never press until you know where it is. It's where you want it. Because you see, if I had pressed that, it would have been in the wrong place. Lay it, and then decide it's where you want it, and then press it. And then we're just going to add these, and you just take them right up to where it covers up the edge of the mountains. And then I have, this is from the annual catalog, it's the Nature's Twine, and it comes with 4, and you could almost use the green, but I'm going to just We just need a little bit of the crumb cake. And then that fun little hole that we poked. The first time I did use the slit because I was going to use one of our fatter ribbons. And I didn't have enough of it. I was going to use one of the burlappy kinds. So the hole's kind of big. So just tie that. And then to keep it, you know, you can do that. I don't like that. I don't like when it kind of doings like that. So just untwist it. Once it starts to untwist, just kind of grab it with your nails or your take your pick tool. You know, in the summer I don't always have nails because I'm in the water too much. But if you don't have anything to grab it with on your fingers, just take your pick tool and just pull it. And this kind of softens it up a little bit, and it makes it also look like you have a little bit more on there than you do. So then just kind of mess with these before you put them on. And this is where I'm gonna go. This is how my other one is. This is the finished product, kind of like this. So when you are looking at stuff in the catalog, where's the one I can show you? I don't know how many of you have the snow globe. I haven't noticed it be ordered on a lot of my customers' things, and I haven't used it yet. But I'm getting ready to because we're using it at camp, and it's a lovely, lovely set. So I know some of you look at this, and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to make anything that fancy. The little house doesn't do it for me. I'm not going to make a shaker card. So you haven't ordered it, right? But you know, I always tell you to look closely because sometimes you need to look super, super close. So look at the dies. Even if you don't get the stamps because you don't need another Merry Christmas, you don't want the giant words, you don't need the house, just look at the little tiny stamps. I mean dies. So over in this little die set, I have them here and I haven't used them yet. I've had them since pre-order. Thank you very much, which that was so long ago. It was like 1,000,000 degrees outside. So it has this. I've attempted to, I have used my girlfriend's, so it's not that I haven't stamped with them. But here you go. This does cut out the house. So if you would buy them, this piece you wouldn't be able to use. But we have these little trees that would work. We have, this just punches out a little church and a little, could be the church if you add the steeple or just a house if you don't. But look at these bears. I should have pulled them off. Oh, this, you know, Stampin' Up! Some of our tape that we tape our cards together with needs to be this tape because this is the strongest tape in the world. But there's like a mama bear and a baby bear. So you could add those to this, but these trees would work. You would need to cut the bottoms off. You could add a little church in front of it. I have already taken the piece that's not in there because if you just look at the dies and you look at the stag, you're going to think, well, that's kind of cartoony, right? Because it has that eye, and it's like, well, that's kind of cartoony for this. You have to remember that a lot of times these holes, that's not an eye. It doesn't have a Rudolph nose. The stag is just, those are to pop it out. So when you do it, it's got the little base to adhere it to your snow globe because, you know, if it's going in the snow globe, it's not a real deer. But for here, it would be a silhouette or a stag. So let's just pop this off. There's no eyes. That was just a thing to pop it out of there. Because people sometimes see dies that I use outside of the set and they're like, where did you get that? Because sometimes the catalog doesn't show off a piece that's just an added piece, but look how pretty. So I'm gonna do the first card, obviously doesn't have this, and I'm gonna add this one. So the spacing on this is gonna be a little bit different. There's a thing in here that didn't get popped out. They're popped, they're just not falling. And you want all of those are all out. Oh, that one right there. You want all that pretty stuff to show through. So now let's think where we might want these. I think I might put him up there. So let's add him here. And what a perfect addition. He looks scale-wise like he goes with this card. Obviously, theme-wise, he goes with it. But, you know, there's a chance it won't carry over. We will know sometime in December what's carrying over. So you can't, in February, decide that you want this mountain set and be like, where'd the deer come from? Because sometimes, you know, the stuff in our catalogs, once it's gone, it's gone. So I don't know right now if the snow globe will be available later. But as you're looking at the holiday catalog and you're like, yeah, I have everything I need. Thanks. So let's put this one high up. So let's start at the top. I don't want it all the way to the tip top. And then all the way so it doesn't hit there. You see people sometimes struggle because they lay things down and then they try to peel it back up. Just don't press and kind of think about it as you put it down. And there's a couple of full places on here that you can kind of get your adhesive. The top of it right here doesn't have anything at all. So we want this one to be a little bit lower. And a tiny bit overlapping. And I'm not going to press it at all because I want this to go under ever so slightly. And I'm out. Because you know that always happens when you film. I have like 4 of them laying on the table though, so I can get it unstuck from my finger. Woo! I almost lost my stamparatus. So I think this looks pretty when it's under here. So now that we've got that on there, we can kind of lay this tree where we want it to be. Start with the top because it's got the most adhesive, and we don't want to cover up all of the birthday, although people are going to know what it says. Because if you're getting your card and it's your birthday, which today is my birthday, then you're going to know it's your birthday, right? So if you lose the Y a little bit. And then because I've got that on there, I'm going to cut this a tiny bit shorter. So he doesn't get lost in the twine. So here it is with the stag, and here it is without. And here it is with the larger slit, which is really too much for this, but it works. So I hope you like this new stamp set. It'll be available in January, starting, I think it's January 3rd. If you're a demonstrator, you can do pre-order on December 3rd. And if you are not a demonstrator and you feel like you have to have this in December, then join my team and you can order it on December 3rd. So, and if you're in the Indianapolis area and you're part of my team, then you can come to the stamp night at my house. If you are not in Indiana and you join my team, then I mail you a lot of the pieces. Like, I can't mail you stamped images. There's nothing on this card except the happy birthday and the buffalo check. And who doesn't own the buffalo check, right? But I mail you all the pieces and you can make the samples along with my videos. So you get all of the things if you're part of my demonstrator team. So if you need a catalog, let me know, and everybody have a great day. Bye.